Hello, mask fans. My brother and I were having a discussion on the way home today, which prompted me to make this video. And the question was, if I had to save 10 masks from my collection, what 10 masks would I save? And that's a very good question. I got about 200 masks down here, so picking just 10 is very limiting. But David, here are my top 10 masks if I had to save these masks from a burning house. After I got the wife and kids and dogs out of the house, of course. So top 10. Here we go. Starting with number 1. Number 1 is going to be Nightmare number 1. This is number 176 out of 250 made. And in the Progressive series, Nightmare 1 was produced in 250. The remaining 4 were limited to 100 copies each. So what's significant about Nightmare number 1? Sculpted in 1979. It was one of the first masks dedicated to collectors. That's why it was limited to 250 pieces. Great sculpt by Ed Edmonds. Classic Distortions piece. Number 10. Nightmare number 1. The next 2 I'm going to grab is going to be some zombies. I'm going to go with Rotted Corpse 2. I'm going to go with Death. Death was the first mask that I wore in the West Spring Spook House. And that's when I realized this company makes some seriously good masks. And I began to notice that Distortions masks with their glossy epoxy eyes were just different. They were more lifelike, more scary in low light conditions. Don Post did some great masks throughout the 70s and 80s. Be Something Studios put out some great masks. But it was Distortions Unlimited that caught my heart and made me start collecting these things a long time ago. Loved them ever since. So Death comes in at number 9. And Rotted Corpse 2, as Ed said, it's such a cliche to have a zombie with one eye. But look at that thing. Rotted Corpse 2 was sculpted a little bit bigger than Rotted Corpse 1. Rotted Corpse 1 was a very small size mask, so it did not fit on the head very well, which prompted Ed to do Rotted Corpse 2. Rotted Corpse 2 came out mid-80s. Great sculpt, eerie, got worms coming out of his mouth and eye area. Just a phenomenal zombie sculpt. We had this one in the West Spring Spook House also. It came out of a grave. It was a bunch of pile of leaves. Scared the living crap out of me when I was a kid. So that was number 7. Then the next 2 I'm going to grab are 2 more masks that we had in the West Spring Spook House. And that was Rotted Vampire and Blasted. What's significant about Rotted Vampire and Blasted? They were the Gore series. Blasted was probably the most bestseller of the Gore series, popularized by the slasher films in the 80s. Of course, we use this in the chainsaw room. Still have the original one. This is the second copy my brother and I have. David found this one. I gave him the old copy, which was repainted by Justin Mabry. It looks fantastic, but this is an original paint scheme on Blasted. Love the eyes, love the Blasted, and the brain showing up front. And Rotted Vampire, I bought this one off of eBay while I was in college. Just love the paint scheme on this. Love the open mouth, the eyes staring straight down at you. Great facial expression on this. Again, had in West Spring Spook House. Would grab Blasted and Rotted Vampire. Then I would grab 3 more off this shelf down here. One of the scariest masks I think that Ed ever produced from Distortions was Evil Lord. It came out in the late 80s, early 90s in the Twilight series. Unfortunately, my copy has went hard. I think it was a latex additive that caused it to go hard, because I have another mask up top. The Air Corpse mask, it done the same thing. It went hard. This one's foam filled now, thank goodness, to save as long as we can. I love this mask. I got it off of Scott back in the early 2000s. I would have to go with Evil Lord. Just a scary mask from Distortions Unlimited. Right next to him, you got to have a Frankenstein. Now, Don Post had Pat Newman's based on Karloff. And that is probably the epitome of mask, is the Karloff Frankenstein from Don Post. However, Ed did a phenomenal job on his own take on Experiment right here. Now, Experiment was produced in small numbers in the mid to late 80s. Hard mask to find, actually. This one we got lucky and found it on eBay. But old Dome Chrome here, great mask. Love the Frankenstein, love the eyes on it. I think Dirk Smith has a copy of his, except his has red eyes. So there's variants on these masks coming. Not all of them are the same, but Experiment, great Frankenstein mask coming from Distortions Unlimited. Another mask that I would grab is going to be Gargle. Gargle came out in the late 90s. What was significant about that, sorry for the thumbprints, about Gargle down here is it was the first mask I think I saw from Fangoria that I thought that I had to have. Great sculpt overall. I bought this one from Morris Costumes in 2000, right when I got into the military. Sheer luck that I got them. But Distortions, Gargle, scary mask, great sculpt, okay paint scheme. Other ones had betters, but seeing him in Fangoria, I had to have him. Finally got a copy of him. So let's move to the top 3 that I'll have to grab, and you've already seen them, didn't know it. Another mask that we had in the West Spring Spook House is Warlord. I've had several copies in the collection, but I've always hung on to this copy particularly because this one was from our childhood, and just for nostalgic reasons I keep Warlord in the collection. Great sculpt. He's kind of gone bald a little bit from losing hair being used in the Spook House, but because he's such a nostalgic mask, I have so many memories with Warlord right here. I have to say he's going to be my number 3 mask to grab. My top 2 masks I would absolutely have to have is going to be Nocturnal and Carnivore. Nocturnal, another early 80s Distortions, great mask. Beady eyes, dark, peering into your soul, with lots of sharp teeth and lots of hair. Just a scary mask. I always thought great sculpt that you could just envision using in a low lit room, scaring the tar out of people with some fog coming up. Nothing would beat it. That would just make you run. A hairy werebat creature sculpted by I think Ed in the early 80s. And then, as everybody who knows me, Carnivore is my number 1 mask. This mask is important to me because it was based upon a creature that was told around campfires in our community back home where we had the Spook House in West Springs, about a creature that would run through the woods and kill you. So he was significant on hay rides. And the actor that had this mask, not this particular version, not this particular mask, but another one, had a little party pooper that he would blow out and it would unroll and it like a long tongue would come out and shoot at you. But just seeing this creature made me think of the Wayne Doodle, and that's my nickname that I use, my handle online. It's based on that legend, that story, and this mask. I have a tattoo of him on my back. Absolutely love Carnivore. He's got 2 tongues, sharp teeth, those orange eyes. One of the few masks that actually has orange eyes from Distortions. And there you have it. My top 10 masks that I would save. If anybody want to see any particular mask from Distortions, I got a lot of them from the Silver Age, not as many as I used to from the Golden Age. But leave your comments below, and I will answer any questions that y'all have to the best of my ability. And until then, y'all have a great day. Enjoy the weekend. Talk to y'all later. Bye.